The next thing I want to talk about is the reason why you might customize some different campaigns. So I'm going to start with the sphere campaign. So here I am back at Marketing Autopilot and Campaigns. And here we are at default homeowner sphere. So this particular campaign, it's fine. We're going to be modifying it a bit. But the way that it works right now is it's automatically going to start if we activate it. It's automatically just going to start whenever the status of someone in your CRM is called sphere. So let's say you go and upload 200 of your people in your database from one CRM that you used to use into kvCore, and you call them all sphere. They're all going to get automatically put on this campaign. And that's something you may or may not want to happen. So we're going to be modifying this campaign. The other campaigns we're going to be adding is called a Facebook buyer campaign, my SELLERSHARE campaign, an agent attraction campaign, and a NEXTDOOR seller campaign. Okay, and we're going to do this very fast, and I'm going to do it in front of you, and then because I want you to see how fast it can be, and then once I get the campaigns built, we will go over how to actually make them work. Okay, you ready? Here we go. I've got this document, Sylvia's kvCore campaign text. I've got a bunch of text here, and I'm just going to start creating it. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a task template, set up market report. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is going to go to templates, and I'm going to be creating a bunch of email and task templates that we're going to be using these templates for our new modified campaigns. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a task template. I'm going to add template, task template. And I am just going to give it the name of Setup Market Report and add it. Next, I am going to create this template. What's your phone number? This is a template to ask people what their phone number is if we only have the email. I'm going to add template, email template, and I'm going to paste here. Now this first line, what's your phone number? That's the name of the template. It's also the name of the subject. What I want you to notice when I paste in this text here is whenever you paste from a different format, a different document, whether it's a Google sheet, a Google document like I'm posting in, or a Microsoft Word document, or a notes document, it's got a certain format. And when I paste this in, I want kvCore to like the format. So I'm going to take this text, I'm going to select it, I'm going to click here. These are the different styles that kvCore likes. And I'm going to click paragraph to just modify, to just change the style of text the way kvCore likes it. The next thing I want you to notice after modifying the text is you want to include signature. So just make sure that is added there. And we're going to add the template. All right, next. We're going to take this next copy. This is my Facebook buyer intro email copy. We're going to then add the template, email template, paste it. I'm calling this template name Facebook buyer intro email. The subject is about the property you viewed on Facebook. And I'm selecting this copy and changing it to the paragraph style, and I'm adding the template. Next is the SellerShare intro email, and I will be going over all these campaigns, so don't you worry. Email template, SellerShare intro email is the name. About your friend's real estate listing is the subject. And get rid of this little subject part here. Select the copy and choose the paragraph as the style. and add the template. All right, Sphere intro email. Add the template, email template. Sphere. The subject is checking in with you. Next is this NEXTDOOR seller email. So I just put this document in the chat again. So as I'm adding these all in, you can see how I'm doing it. You can review what the copy is. So again, this is the NEXTDOOR seller email. This is for those people on the NEXTDOOR app that I posted my home valuation tool, and I got some bites, and I want this email to go out. Okay. Okay, so before we do the agent attraction one, I want to talk about these campaigns. All right. So we just added those templates. And now what we're going to do is we're going to first modify this default homeowner sphere campaign. This campaign is for those people, your past clients, people that you know, people that you've worked with before, people that you're in your network, family and friends. That's who this campaign's for. So the first thing we want to do is there's this checking in email, and we're going to get rid of it because I don't like it. What it says is, I've been showing a few homes in your area and thought of you. I don't like it because I don't know that I've been showing homes in their area. And I think it's a little disingenuous, so I just don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. Okay, this next one is a sphere check-in task. It's just nothing. It's basically, hey, create a task for the contact. Okay, we're going to get rid of that. This next one is an email that says, hey, I've been sending you a market report. Did you get it? What do you think of them? Okay, I send them about once a month. That's what it says. So what we're going to do is we are going to add a little bit to this campaign. We're going to leave everything else the way it is. This campaign's like only 18 to 20 touches over 1,000 days, literally 990 days. But it's people in your sphere. So a couple things are going to happen. They're going to be getting your market report because you're going to set up a market report for them. And that's going to happen once a month. Also, I hope that you're sending like either a weekly or a monthly newsletter, email. Maybe you're sending email, maybe it's a direct mail piece, but you're sending something else every month as well. And maybe, you know, they've looked at a property on your website, and if they have, then they're going to be getting possibly some property alerts as well. So there's going to be more touches than just this, but at least it's something, okay? And I think it's a good skeleton to work from. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add an action, and we're going to add email, and it is our sphere intro email. So as you can see, I just started to type the email, type the template, and it popped up. And I'm going to give it the same name, sphere intro email. And we're going to have this sent on day 1. And how this works in kvCore is it's the day 24 hours after you get the lead, basically, or after you trigger the campaign, 24 hours after. So we're going to start it on day 1. It says, hi, Sue. So the first name is going to auto-populate. It's going to auto-populate whatever that person's name is. I wanted to check in with you and see how things are going. I have a market report I want to send that gives you a view of the real estate happenings in your area. I'll plan to include you so so you can keep on top of the market. As always, let me know if you have any real estate questions or just want to catch up. So that's that. That's the first thing they're going to get. And then the second thing that we want to add is a task. And this task is that setup market report. And this is a task to us, telling us to do it, but we're going to do it on day one as well. It's going to pop up in these tasks here. But if we don't come every couple days and check to see what our tasks are, we might not do it, okay? So just be aware of that, okay? You want to do the tasks that kvCore tells you to do, or at least pick and choose them. There's one more action. The next thing is a call. Now, we talked about how the system will automatically create calls for you, and you can set it up so that your sphere is included in getting daily calls from you, or creating tasks, call tasks for you to call your sphere, your prospects, your active leads, your new leads. So we went over that at the beginning. But we're going to go ahead just for good measure and add a call task in here. And I am going to add the task call or text. And I'm giving you that option because I don't know, maybe you just talked to this person and that's why you decided to start the campaign. I don't know. So I'm call or text, you're going to just check in with this person, you know, is good talking to you the other week, or hey, I haven't talked in a while, how are you? You know, whatever you want to do. We're going to choose the template, call and leave a voicemail. And we're going to do this on the 5th day, day 5, after this campaign starts. Now, that task is going to show up in your tasks here. And if within 7 days you don't do that task, it will disappear as if that task never existed. However, it is built into this campaign. Okay? So it's not just an auto-created task that kvCore did. It's actually built in the campaign. You just didn't do it, or maybe you did. Now you have some choices to make. And before we activate it, we need to discuss that, because it's a big deal. So some of you are brand new, or some of you have a database and you just haven't added them all to your kvCore yet because you're afraid of kvCore. And so you've got a sphere. You've got maybe 100 people, maybe you have 50, maybe you have 2,000. I don't know, you have some people. And if you put them all into your kvCore and call them sphere, the way that this campaign will work is it's going to start for those sphere contacts automatically. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have 200 or 300 or however many people you have in your database. You're going to have to, you know, on day 5, call or text all of them. So you might want to create this campaign to give you more control. I mean, if you're just going to be adding people in from your sphere, you know, one by one, here and there, little by little, you could leave it this way. And then if their status is sphere, then the campaign will start, and then it's fine. Or if you have a bunch of people to add and you want more control, you could change the campaign, and that's what I do. I change it. I edit it, and I say, when this lead has been moved to the hashtag sphere homeowner, then it can start. And this campaign is designed for everybody, whether they're buyer, seller, renter, I don't care. I'm going to change the name of it because I am modifying it. So this is a custom campaign now. And I'm going to call this Sphere Homeowner Campaign. Again, all these instructions are in that document I shared. And I'm going to say activates when Sphere Homeowner tag is added. And yes, in this case, always run and update it. So now, when I add the Sphere Homeowner tag to a lead, then this is when that campaign is going to start, the way I've set it up. So if you have a ton of people that you're going to be adding, you could just maybe 10 a day or 5 a day add, or maybe you could decide, okay, I'm going to go through my sphere over the next, month, and I'm going to call them every day and check in on them and reconnect with them. And then as soon as I'm done calling them, I'm going to add them to the campaign. So we'll just start. Okay. So that might be one way to do it. You decide. You don't have to do it the way that I'm suggesting. I'm just telling you my reasoning, and you get to decide. Now let's go and try this out. Let's activate that campaign. Okay. Because it's not going to work if we don't activate it. There, I just activated. You can see it's in blue now. So we're going to go to Smart CRM. We're going to try this baby out. And try this little campaign trick out. So this is the agent, and I'm going to use her as a guinea pig. So there's a couple ways. So let's say she's in my sphere. So either I can just put this person in his sphere, and then if I've created that campaign to start when a status is sphere, then it would start. But we didn't do it that way. So that's one example. This right now, this person's in as a new lead. So that's neither here nor there. But if we want that sphere homeowner campaign to start for this person for whatever reason, we can change their status. The other way to do it is we can just go to campaign here and then add the campaign. Okay, I could choose this drop down and just start the campaign that way. Okay, and it would start. But I'm not going to do it that way. The way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to trigger it by actually physically adding the hashtag. And I'm going to explain why in a minute. So I'm going to trigger this by adding the hashtag sphere homeowner and update the tag. So that's what I just did. I just added the hashtag, and then automatically the campaign's been added, and I can see all the future touches. Okay. The reason that I like to do it that way is because let's say you have a ton of leads in here and you're not sure who's on what campaign. And you want to be like, I wonder who is on that campaign. So maybe maybe these are all people in your sphere. So maybe Kathy is in your sphere, and what you've done is you've filtered all your sphere contacts. Let's pretend we did that. We filtered up for all our sphere contacts, so we're only seeing everybody in our sphere, but we're not sure who's on that campaign, because maybe they're not on that campaign yet. So what we can do is we can use this hashtag sphere homeowner and search. And then what it's going to do, it's going to show us all the contacts that are on, that have that hashtag assigned, and that can be what tells us who's on that campaign as well. We kind of just killed two birds with one stone. We gave it the hashtag that not only helps us identify who's on that campaign, but we know that they're on the campaign because we use that hashtag to trigger the campaign. There's no other place in kvCore that you can see all the people that are on whatever campaigns. You can't like click on this campaign and say who's on this campaign. The only way you can do it is search by hashtag. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the Facebook buyer campaign. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Here we are, conversion default buyer, and we are going to open up this campaign, and we are going to make a copy. So basically, we're going to use this campaign as a skeleton. So all we're going to do is click clone here, ever so surely, clone, and we're just going to hit next, and we're just, oops, next, clone. So we just are making a copy. Now we are going to edit this campaign. So I click on edit. And the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to change the trigger for when this campaign starts. So it's not going to start when it's a new lead. We're going to change this to that this campaign is going to start when the hashtag Facebook buyer is present. It is for a buyer. I'm going to change the name here to Facebook Buyer Campaign. And I'm going to use the text, which I have right here for you guys. The text is activates when Facebook buyer tag is added. I know it by heart, so I don't need to copy and paste it, but I'm just doing it for you as to show you how you can use that document I created. So Facebook buyer campaign activates when Facebook buyer tag is present. Next. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to change this part a little bit, the actions, because this is really just the conversion default buyer campaign. And this campaign is going to start when anybody has clicked on a property and registered on your website. But this particular campaign is going to start when we have created a squeeze page, which I'm going to show you how to do. A squeeze page for maybe a single property of a listing we're promoting, or maybe even an open house list, up to you. If we've created a squeeze page to put there out on Facebook, and when we created the squeeze page, we gave it the tag of Facebook buyer, so that when a lead came in, we would send this campaign in particular. This campaign is just a little different because it's directly talking to those people that came in through Facebook, and we want to tell them, hey, you clicked on a property on Facebook, and so now we know each other and we're best friends now. It's kind of cluing that person into that you're paying attention, and I think it creates a better rapport. Now, you could just use the regular conversion default buyer campaign and not worry about this kind of stuff. You absolutely can. I'm just telling you what I do and what works for me. And I'm also so many people have complaints I see about kvCore campaigns. I'm taking this opportunity to show you how you can customize. Okay. All right. That's my diatribe. So we're going to leave this initial text that says, hey, are you shopping? What are you doing? And we'll leave everything else. So what I don't want to leave from here is this particular email. It says, I've got some free time on my calendar this weekend if you want to meet up and tour 2 or 3 properties. You know, I do leave it for the conversion default buyer campaign. I don't actually ever have anybody take me up on it anyway, but I'm going to delete it because I don't like it. All right. So I'm going to delete it. All right, I'm going to add the new action, and that is my Facebook buyer intro email that we made. And we are going to run this on day 1, which is 24 hours after the lead comes in. Oops. So let's view the template. It says, hi, Sue. I noticed you viewed, and then it's going to show them the last property they viewed. Posted on Facebook the other day. I am a local real estate agent, and I'd like to answer any inquiries for you about the properties viewed. Are you thinking about buying or selling a home, Sue? I'm here to help. Thanks. So I just find it a little more personal. And so we're going to leave that there. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add this action to call, and we're going to do this on day 2. Now you can either set it up so that kvCore will actually create a call for you where they will call you and then initiate a phone call to that number. I don't want to do that. You can do that. I'm not doing that. So we're going to do as a task reminder, and actually what we're going to say here is we're going to say call or send the what's your number email. Call and leave voicemail. Days on day 2. So you might remember we created an email template that said, what's your phone number? That's that's what we're doing. We're saying to ourselves, hey, Sylvia, call this person or send the email. This is what's your phone number. Okay. And then finally, we're going to add this action on day 100. You see this day 100 is the last thing. So we're going to add the status that we're going to change the status to sphere when this campaign ends. So automatically the system will change this person's status from a new buyer lead to sphere. And we're going to have this happen on day 101, which is the day after the campaign ends. And so now they will be included in your sphere. And so at this time, you can decide what to do with them. You want to add them to the sphere campaign? Do you want them to start them on a different campaign? But you want to make sure if they haven't unsubscribed for your emails, then you want to make sure they're getting your monthly newsletter or weekly email or whatever you're doing, sending, okay? Your property alerts, because these people, when they've come into your website and property, they are getting property alerts sent to them at least weekly, and maybe even more if they're interacting with what kvCore is sending them. So not only are they getting this campaign, they're also getting property alerts automatically that you don't even have to set up. You can modify them and set them up, but you don't have to. kvCore is doing it for you. Okay. I want to tell you how I would use this campaign, because that's what you all want to know. This is Lana's listing. And let's say I'm just wanting to promote another EXP agent's listing. So I'm going to grab that MLS ID. I'm going to go to Lead Engine. And I'm going to post my new list, or this person, I'm going to say this is my favorite listing of the day. You've got to check out, you know, these remodeled bathrooms, or check out the pool pictures, or you won't believe this updated kitchen, you know, or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to Lead Engine, and now here at IDX Squeeze page. You'll have a drop down, and you'll have to choose from a domain. You will have more than one domain if you are somebody who is paying $12 a month for an additional MLS. Okay, so you'll have different domains for different MLSs. But most of us are just I'm going to click Start Building. And now I'm going to go here to single property squeeze pages. I will tell you that single property squeeze pages do generate the most leads for me when it comes to buyers. Seller squeeze pages are great too for seller leads, but single property pages they generate the most leads for buyers. So in this case, we are going to post this on Facebook. So you want to choose your source. You want to decide, well, is this something I'm going to post in a blog, or I'm going to send this in an email, a mass email, or am I going to send it in a mass text, or am I going to send this link, put it in like a LinkedIn post or a Twitter post? So decide on your source. That way you can track where you're getting the most leads from, what sources are gaining you the most leads. So for this one, we're going to do Facebook, and I'm just going to give it FB as the code name. You can choose what you're going to be, but just be consistent. Don't write out Facebook one day and then type FB the next. Just choose one source all the time, one source. And then we're going to give it the hashtag of Facebook buyer. Okay, that's where the Facebook buyer, because we want that Facebook buyer campaign to start. We don't have to put a hashtag. We don't have to start the Facebook buyer campaign, but I want it to start. So I'm going to put Facebook buyer there. That's the trigger. I'm going to put the listing ID here. Now, property views allowed before registration. This seems to vary, but in pretty much I'm going to say 55% of the time, it's so silly. kvCore is so silly. 55% of the time, it will force registration after a couple of property views, like picture views of the property. Other times, it will allow you to look at the property without registering, and it won't ask you to register until you look at a second property. So I'm actually going to put this on immediate because I want to get the lead. If somebody wants to look at this, they're going to register. Also, it's going to ask them if they want to register on Facebook or Google. And if this property is already on Facebook anyway, they're just going to register with Facebook. You're going to get their email. Just do that. You want the lead. So the next thing I want to explain is there are two links that are generated, a long link and a short link. Both these links are exactly the same. It's just that this long one tells the story of the squeeze page. The story is that it comes from this domain, kathystrickland.expedia.com. This is the MLS ID. The PPC, that is just referring to the source. The source is Facebook. Add hashtag Facebook buyer. Now, and it's timing one. In other words, they can see this one property. The short link is the exact same thing. It's just that when I paste it in to the URL, it is going to automatically convert to the same exact long link. And now it's going to ask me to log in. Let's say no thanks, I don't want to use my cell phone number, just let me in. So I'm logging with Facebook. Most everybody's already in their Facebook or their Google account anyway, so that's how they're going to log in. One thing I don't like about, I mean, now at this point you have the lead, but I don't like this delay from registering to get in to see it. But you can see it asked me to register. Now, if I had put it on property to views, I'd be able to look at this whole property without registering. And I don't like that about kvCore because you'll see this is basically looks like a single property website, but there's no, what I don't like about kvCore is there's nowhere on this page for me to be enticed to look at other properties. So if you put it on, yeah, the default, somebody can look at two properties. Well, I mean, where are they going to go to see more properties? I mean, where on this page does it entice to look at more properties? It doesn't. And I hate that. I wish there was like somewhere here at the top, like similar properties, you know, so that it would force a lead without making them register to just see this first property. They can, from here, they can start searching for other properties. And they can ask a question. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about here is if this were my own listing, besides Facebook buyer, the other campaign or the other hashtag I want to add is maybe the address. So 123 Main Street, let's see. I don't know what the address is because I didn't pay attention, but maybe the address is 123 Main Street. And so for my own listing, I would also add that hashtag. And, you know, and if I were going to change anything, you guys, anytime you change anything about the squeeze page, you have to click generate link to generate a whole new link. Okay, because now it changes what the story is. So now it changed Facebook buyer and this hashtag. So you need to change the story. So anyway, I hit generate link. So I got a new link here. This hashtag 123 Main Street, that's not going to trigger any campaigns, but it's going to help me categorize. So let's say I get 10 leads today from this squeeze page. I want to know which of my 10 new leads have this hashtag, who's interested in that property. Because what if, you know, tomorrow we drop the price by $1,000. I want to tell all those people that were interested, like, hey, guess what? We just dropped the price by $5,000. Or guess what? We just went under contract. Or guess what? We were under contract, but now we're back on the market. So I want to find all these people. Or let's leverage this listing. So now I listed the house across the street and I could say, hey, you were interested in this house. I sold it, but now I have another property on the same street. And so you could tell those people that are interested. So if there was my own listing, I would add that hashtag so that I could search in my smart CRM for those leads that have that hashtag. From here, let's say I wanted to also create a source for LinkedIn or Google or any other source. I could do that here, and I would just delete the hashtag Facebook buyer, because I wouldn't want that campaign saying, hey, you clicked on a property on Facebook the other day when you posted this link on Google. But you can create multiple single property websites for this one listing. That brings me to my favorite campaign, and that is called SellerShare. So I'm going to create a new squeeze page called SellerShare, and the source is going to be seller. I'm going to give it, if this is going to be for my own listing, I'm creating a single property website, for my seller, and I'm saying, hey, seller, guess what? I'm going to create a property website for you to promote on your social media, and you can ask your friends to share it, and you can ask your friends to help you find a buyer. Won't that be fun? You can send it an email to your friends and family. You can text it, whatever you want to do, but here's the link. So what you're going to do is you're going to give it the address of whatever the address is, or maybe you'll use the listing ID as your hashtag. That's just for finding and identifying leads. And then you're going to give it the hashtag of SellerShare. That tag is to activate the SellerShare campaign. You'd still have the listing ID. And at this point, you can decide here. I do leave it on the default of 2, because these are people that just want to see their friend's listing. And if they're that interested, they are going to keep looking on your website at other things. This is going to be something you decide, test it out, see how it works for yourself, okay? And then you're going to generate a new link. You want this to be SellerShare. So again, it's going to be the same exact thing. It's just going to, the squeeze page is going to have different commands for kvCore. It's going to say, oh, kvCore, this lead came in, and you're going to start the Facebook buyer campaign. Or this lead came in with a SellerShare tag, so you're going to start the SellerShare campaign. Let me talk to you about my SellerShare campaign. My SellerShare campaign is the best one, I think, because you get a lot of leads from it, because a lot of people want to see the property of their friend, and they want to look around. So it's a good campaign. They will register to see the listing, and it's like a warmer referral. And so I'm closing on Friday from somebody that came in from my SellerShare campaign. She came into my website a year ago, and we're closing on Friday. And she didn't even know the sellers, but she was Facebook friends with them. They kind of went to the same church, but I mean, they're just in the same neighborhood and knew the same people, but that was the extent of it. And so we're going to create now the SellerShare campaign. So what we're going to do here, and we're going to go to our Facebook buyer campaign, and we're going to just make a copy of it. So here we go. We're on Facebook buyer campaign. We're just going to clone it. We're just cloning it. Slowly but surely. We're just going to hit next, 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 and clone. All right. So this campaign, we're going to edit it. And instead of starting when it's moved to the hashtag Facebook buyer, we're going to say that it is going to start when SellerShare tag is added. And it is still for a buyer. And we're going to go to our little cheat sheet here. And we are going to say that it's called the SellerShare campaign. And we are going to say that it activates when the seller share tag is present. And we're going to update. Now, this first thing we're going to get rid of is this initial text that says, I forgot to ask, are you just shopping or looking for something specific? Most of these leads are going to be people that just wanted to see their friend's real estate listing. So we're not going to bother them with that text. We're just going to get rid of that. Okay. We're also going to get rid of the Facebook buyer intro email. And instead, we're going to add the seller share email. And we're going to have this run on day 1. And let's look at it. It says, hi, Wendy, or whatever their name is. I noticed you viewed your friend's listing on my website the other day. I'm the realtor and I need your feedback. What did you think about the presentation of the listing? How about the price? Who do you know who might be interested in purchasing this property? If you have any real estate questions or know someone who might, please let me know. I'm here to help. Okay, so that's what it is. Again, otherwise, if you activate this campaign, they will just get the regular conversion default buyer campaign, which is probably okay too. This just makes it a little personal and builds rapport. We're going to leave this same, call or send the what's your number email because we're going to call them and say, hey, you checked out your friend's listing. I'm the realtor. I'd love to have your feedback or thanks for providing your feedback, because they may reply to your email, which some of them will. And, hey, how long have you lived in your house? Do you live close by? Where do you live in the neighborhood? Blah, 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 blah. See what happens. Okay. And we're going to leave everything else the same, and we're going to activate. Isn't that fun? Okay, so here's the very, very important things that are so important that you have to pay attention right now. We just created this Facebook buyer campaign and the seller share campaign. Both of these campaigns are going to activate when we have either the seller share tag or the Facebook buyer tag added. However, these leads are also going to get the conversion default buyer campaign, and we don't want that. I told you the conversion default buyer campaign is the most dominant campaign, and it will run. It will run, but we can prevent that from running at the same time either of those other campaigns are running if we want it to, if we want to prevent it, which in this case we do. So we've got this conversion default buyer campaign, and the way it's set up, I'm going to click here, the way it's set up right now is it's going to start when it's a new lead for a buyer. It's just going to start. It doesn't care what other campaigns are running. It's going to run if it wants to. But if we have the seller share tag added or the Facebook buyer tag added, we're also going to have one of those campaigns running. And we don't want all the campaigns running at the same time, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to add an additional 2 additional triggers. The first trigger we're going to add is like, hey, conversion default buyer campaign, you go ahead and run when the status is a new lead for a buyer. Yeah, do that. And also go ahead and run when the hashtag is not Facebook buyer. Okay, and go ahead and run when the hashtag is not seller share. Sometimes you gotta mess with this too. Okay, so does that make sense? We're telling the conversion default buyer campaign to go ahead and run when the status is a new lead for a buyer, and when the hashtags are not Facebook buyer and seller share. If those hashtags aren't there, go ahead and run. Okay, so that's how we now are preventing this from running. I'll show you because I came in on that Facebook buyer campaign. And you can see here, that Facebook buyer was added, but guess what? I'm going to be on 2 campaigns. I'm on conversion default buyer, and I'm on Facebook buyer campaign, because we had not told the conversion default buyer campaign to not run if the Facebook buyer hashtag was present. So that's why it's so I'm just a test, so it doesn't matter, but I'm glad this is there so you can see, now I can remove this, so you can see what happens now. Now, the way we've set this up was we're going to prevent those 2 campaigns from running at the same time. So I went in and just removed that. Well, so somebody asked about search alerts. I think it was Norma said, what if, you know, they haven't come to your website in a while? What you can do, and you want them to see properties. So what you can do is you can go to your alerts, and maybe they're already on an alert because the system has automatically created an alert for them based on, you know, they saw this one property. Over time, kvCore will start sending them more properties. And if they're interacting with any of the properties, kvCore will send them more and more and more. Okay. But what you can do is you can go here to search alerts, and you can create your own alerts. So I can go in here and edit, like, okay, I'm going to send this person single family and condos and townhouses. You can also choose, instead of choosing an area, you can draw on a map. So I could draw an area like, okay, so I want to be on this side of Houston, let's say. I could do that instead. And if, that's terrible, but I could choose either an area, a city, county, a zip code, or I could draw on a map. So depending. And then maybe they need at least 3 bedrooms, and they want at least 1.5 baths, and they don't want to go over $300,000. And you can decide if you want them to also get open houses or not. I go ahead and do it. I don't care. And then frequency, you know, twice a week, let's say. And then you can save and send or set alert. I'm going to do both. I mean, the alert's already sent. So the alert's there. And I can also send these recent results again, or I can text the recent results. I could copy the link and send it in a different kind of email. I've got options here, okay? So that's thing 1. Now remember that task to set up market reports for our sphere? Let's talk about that. So let's say we're in this, you know, we have somebody in our sphere and we want to send them a market report. We know what their address is because they're in our sphere, and we double checked. We called them up and said, hey, are you still at this address? Let's pretend. I don't know this area, city out of Salmon Spring, Texas. And I'm going to get this, I can send this every 28 days, 21 days, 14 days. But now for our sphere, we said we're going to send it once a month. So every 28 days and add. So now they're going to get a market report every month as well. So that's how you're going to set up those. Okay. How do we change to active? So if you want to change to an active lead, you just here under new lead and then change to active lead like that. But what's going to happen is it's probably going to stop the campaign that you have them on if you change into an active lead. So just be aware of that. So because once they respond to you, it will probably turn off that current campaign that they came in on as a new lead. So you have to decide if you want to do that or not. Okay. So like for our conversion default buyer campaign, that is for those people that are new leads And once they become an active lead, that campaign stops. So you can start them on a different campaign or not have them on a campaign. They're just on search alerts. I don't know. Let's see. The alert is essentially the same search you could set up in your MLS. Yes, exactly. And you know what, you guys? I really rely on it now. I use it all the time. I used to always set up people in the MLS, and I don't anymore unless they're like a super active client that I have a buyer agency with. They're using my kvCore even if they're active, and I can see, and I like that because I can see what they're doing just so much easier. Like my MLS will alert me like, hey, so-and-so viewed a property from the MLS, great. But I can see which properties just right there and then on my kvCore. So I'm using kvCore solely now just because it makes my life easier. Where I get the bulk of my seller leads comes from either the NEXTDOOR app or from Google. I do pay $90-something a month now on my Google My Business page. I have a Google My Business page, and that's free, but I run an ad, like what's my home worth ad, that I pay $100 a month for, and I've been doing it for a little while. I don't know if I'll continue to do it. I'm struggling with converting the Google ones. I have a lot better luck with the NEXTDOOR ones, which I don't pay anything for. But anyway, but I've got a campaign for them. But so I like my seller leads, is what I'm saying. And so what they're going to get is this conversion default seller campaign, which is perfectly fine. But for my NEXTDOOR people especially, I want them to know, like, I'm your neighbor and you asked for your home value for my website because you clicked on that tool in NEXTDOOR. So that we're best friends now and you got to talk to me. That's how I feel about that campaign. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to our conversion default seller campaign. We're going to clone it. What we're going to do here is we're just going to make a copy of this. We cloned it. And we are going to edit it. And we're saying that instead of status is a new lead for seller, this is going to trigger when NEXTDOOR seller tag is added. And we're going to go to our little cheat sheet copy here. And it's called the NEXTDOOR seller campaign. And it activates when the NEXTDOOR seller tag is present. And yes, in that case, it's always going to run and update. And all we're going to do here, do two things. We're going to add the action of an email. And it's going to be the NEXTDOOR seller intro email. And it says, I noticed you requested your home valuation estimate from my link on NEXTDOOR the other day. What did you think of the value? It's automated and the actual value higher or lower. So, let's get together. Call or text me. Okay. So I'm going to have that sent the day after the lead comes in. So 24 hours after, and add. 5 days later, this other CMA email is going to be sent out, and that's fine. This is basically if this person hasn't responded to you or you haven't converted them yet, you just want to keep this going. Okay, if you're not getting ready to list their house tomorrow, just keep this campaign going. The other thing I'm going to recommend that you do when you get a seller lead, whether it's a prospect or a new lead, if you have an address, as long as, I don't care if you don't even get a name and number or email. If you have an address, go to RPR and type in their property and send them just the one-page estimated property value report. Just create a report, the property flyer, say this is your estimated home value. Let me know if you have any questions. Are you thinking about buying or selling? And stick that baby in the mail, okay? Or drop it off at their house. So you really want to take good care of those seller leads. Okay. So the next one we're going to do is going to add the action of call, and we're going to say call or send. What's your phone number, email? We're going to call and leave a voicemail. I don't agree with those people who don't leave voicemails. It's like you might as well be a bill collector then. Okay. And then finally, we're going to keep this person. We're going to change their status to sphere on the 366th day. In case nothing happens with them. Okay. And add. All right, we're going to activate. Now, guess what else we have to do? We have to make sure that the conversion default seller campaign doesn't also run, right? So we're gonna go to conversion default seller, and we are going to add a trigger that says, hold please. We're going to add the trigger that says, conversion default seller campaign, go ahead and run when your status is new lead, and go ahead and run when the hashtag is not NEXTDOOR seller. If it's not NEXTDOOR seller, then go ahead and run. So again, you don't have to have these customized campaigns. I just think it creates a little more rapport and lets that person know how you know them and why you're contacting them, because you're like, we know each other. You were on Facebook, you were on NEXTDOOR, you checked out your friend's listing, whatever the case may be.